Hello everyone, and welcome to another video that will help you boost your usage of HubSpot. Very excited about today's video since this is a new public beta feature, so it's available for everyone watching this video if you have the right hubs. So let's dive right in and I'll show you what we're gonna discuss today. If you go to product updates, which you always can find here at the bottom when you open the menu under product updates, and you search in the beta for Sales Workspace. There's 3 different betas that are available here. All of them are public betas. The most important one, combining everything together, is the Sales Workspace, which is this one right here. So what is this? This is basically a new version of the prospecting workspace to include even more. So prospecting was, as it says, really focused on prospecting, whereas the Sales Workspace also includes a lot about deals, and it is amazing. So let me show you what it looks like. So this is what the new Sales Workspace looks like. As you can see, we have a new tab at the top here compared to what we had in the prospecting space. You will see you have these guided actions as well, which is really cool. So if I look at all actions here, the first example here is a meeting I have with someone, which is in an hour. And it reminds me to prepare for this meeting. We'll go into that in a moment. Also, it will remind you to follow up on meetings that you already had. So let's say you had an entire day full of meetings. You get home in the evening as a sales developer. This will remind you to do some follow-ups on those meetings that you had. So if you click follow-up here, you will get a guided task list where you first of all, need to select the outcome of the meeting, and it also gives you the options here to send a follow-up email, for example, or of course at your meeting notes. Now, let's look a little bit further. So here you can see we have a opportunity, a deal, and it says that the person linked to that deal is waiting for a reply, so I could reply to that email right there. As this is a beta, there are still like some things that make a little less sense. So for example, this is the same person as this follow-up email. So this should actually just be one task, but we'll ignore that for now since it is a beta and I'm sure it will be ironed out over time. Here we have a follow-up email to a person that I already sent a follow-up to after a meeting. And you can see that it says that this person opened my last email but hasn't replied yet. So it suggests that I should follow up with this person, which is fair to ask. Then you can also see recently engaged leads. So any leads that you have in the pipeline and they engage with any content or emails that you send them, it will pop up here and then it gives you the option to reach out to those engaged leads. And again, this will open a streamlined workflow where you can go through these tasks. You can also switch between them here at the top. So you can see there's tasks related to closing, prospecting, leads, anything due today, which is not the case right now, anything overdue, and then upcoming tasks as well, which is the ones for tomorrow. But that task list is also empty right now. Then if we go a little bit further to the bottom, we can see contacts are awaiting your reply. So this is someone who sent me an email and it's suggesting that I should reply to that email. Update next steps. This is also a really important one. Whenever I'm like helping people with sales training, one of the most important things to make sure that your deals keep moving forward is always having that next step. It's something that also will show up in your forecasting views. And it's just really important to always have a clear next step. So whatever deal you're looking at, you know what needs to happen next. And then this last one is new contacts that have been assigned to me, but that I didn't work on yet. So it's just suggesting that I either enroll them in a sequence, which is a great way to initiate that first contact, or to work these contacts individually. So for example, if I would click work individually, it will create that list for me and I can start sending out emails or like reaching out to these people in one way or another to set up that initial contact. Like for example, a person that I met at a bar the other day, Harvey Specter. He said he's the best lawyer in the city, but we'll see about that. So that's what we have here in guided actions. You can always filter these on anything that's closing related or anything that's prospecting related. So that makes it a little bit easier already. Then let's have a look at the right side of the screen here. So by default, it will show you the schedule. I can see that I have like an upcoming meeting here. You can also look at insights. So here you can see the pipeline for this month. And apparently I'm doing great because I already attained my goal. Since this is actually a live account, this will obviously not show any absolute values, but I'll make sure that the attainment is still visible. Then you can also see the number of meetings delivered and how that compares to the previous period. And then the pipeline created as well, also compared to the previous period. So with less meetings, we created more pipeline. Great. Then activities this week. So no calls this week so far. A couple emails sent, a couple emails replied. And then we can see our leads at a glance here as well. So we have 0 new leads, 2 that we're attempting. So we're working on connecting with those. And then we have 0 connected right now. And then last, we can see the feed here, where you will get an overview of any contact activities for contacts that you're a contact owner of. So that also makes it easy to see if anyone recently opened an email, etc. So that's it for like this first overview. Now let's dive into a very interesting one that I really love. So the first way to access this is if it comes up here and you click prepare for meeting, you will get this view. The second one is when you click on a meeting and on the right side here. Actually right now it's not showing this. Usually it also shows it when you click here, but maybe because it's available on the left side here, it doesn't do that right now. So I'll just click here and you will see the screen that I'm talking about. So for example, if I want to prepare for this specific meeting, I can see all of the details here. I can see everyone in the meeting and everyone who accepted the meeting. I can add some team notes that are only visible within our HubSpot account. And then it also has some suggested activities to prepare for this meeting. So, for example, you can study your customer's company with ChatSpot. You can summarize the company record with ChatSpot. Summarize a contact record with ChatSpot. Catch up on recent conversations. If some attendees have not accepted the invitation yet, it also suggests that you follow up on those or send them a reminder, but it's automatically checked off as everyone has accepted here. And then also you can review your notes left on this lead, which will take you right to those notes. So for example, let's say we want to summarize the company record with ChatSpot. We will probably need to redact a lot here when I click this, but it will still give you an idea. So here you can see that it gives me a quick overview of this specific company, but unfortunately I will have to redact all of it since it's actually pretty accurate. So then you can go through this list and make sure that you're prepared for any meetings that you have. So let's jump to the leads view. Not a whole lot has changed here except that you can do inline editing now. But this is a view that you should already be familiar with within the prospecting dashboard. As you can see, there's just 2 leads here that are active right now. This one I would say is cold for various reasons. And you can see that both of these are attempting right now. Now, for the new one, we have deals. I really like this view since it brings together a couple of interesting points and a couple of interesting features that will really help us move deals forward. So for example, this view shows me all open deals together with the deal score. So the deal score is like one of the newer properties within HubSpot as well, which automatically creates a deal score, which goes from 0 to 100. And the deal score is also more or less the same as the probability for a deal to close. It won't only tell you the score, it also says you how this score has evolved over the last couple of days. So this one, for example, went down by 9 points. And it also shows the progression. So basically why it's saying that it's this score. So this already gives us a pretty good idea of which deals have a good chance to move forward. So for example, the ones at the top here have a pretty good chance of closing, whereas the ones at the bottom here will probably not close anytime soon. Then on the left side here, we can also see a couple of preset views. So one of them is any stall deals. So these are the deals that have been in a stage longer than average. So this is really adapted to your HubSpot environment. And this is specifically important to pay attention to because like any deals that have stalled probably need some work to move the deal forward again. And you can also immediately see if there's a next activity planned. And again, here we can see this next step, which we talked about before. So that's why it's so important to always have a clear next step. Then when we look at recent activity, so these are all the deals that have a last activity date within the last week. So we have been interacting with all of these deals within the last week. Then another very important one, the deals that have no next scheduled activity. It's always important, like having a next step is important, but having a next activity is even more important. And this gives you this overview for this next activity. And it also gives you an easy way to add that next activity right in here. So when I click this, I can, for example, create a task, let's say within 3 business days. And I can select whether this has to be a to-do, an email, a call, or even schedule a meeting with this prospect. So the next view is for the stale close date, which means any deals that have a close date before today. So close date in the past, basically. It's one of the things that I always have to hammer on during sales trainings as well. And it's really important that you have an accurate close date for all of your deals, because it's one of the many ways you will set your priorities, what you need to work on that day. Then we have a view for all deals and all closed deals. I'm not going to look at those specifically. I think they speak for themselves. It will also show you your saved views. So these are all of the views that you have added on the deal homepage in the CRM. So basically your tabs at the top of the screen. For me, this is my deal, or like all deals with a close date this quarter. My deals for this year, all open deals, deals closing in the next 15 days, and then active subscriptions. The next view here is the schedule. This is a nice way to view your schedule for the week. By default, hide weekends. I think most of us are not doing any sales activities on the weekends. And you can easily click on any of these to see the details. Oh, and here it does give you the button to prepare for any of these meetings. So that's also really helpful. Then on the left side here, you can see any meetings that are awaiting an outcome. So after a meeting, you should always add the outcome so that you have this data within HubSpot and see, like, for example, how many meetings would be no-shows. Hopefully none. Right now, we're all caught up on adding those outcomes. And then we have the follow-up opportunities. So here you can see this is a meeting from 6 days ago, meeting from 5 days ago, another meeting from 5 days ago. And it suggests that there are some follow-up opportunities for these meetings. So when you click that, you will get to the follow-up screen. And here it also will show you all of the details, the meeting summary, the team notes. And then it has some suggested activities to follow up on this meeting. For example, send a follow-up email. As it says, keep the conversation going for a better chance to close, which makes total sense. And then we also see update your meeting notes. Also very important that you always have your meeting notes within HubSpot. So next time you know what you talked about the previous time. And also ChatSpot will be able to give you more information about this contact in the future. And then the last one is the feed tab, which is just another way to look at the feed, which we also had on the home screen. At the top here, you can always click it to see the sales dashboard for any of your other users within HubSpot. So that's also really helpful. The feed here can also be filtered by activity. So if you want to filter it specifically to see, for example, email clicks, you can do that. And for sequence enrollment as well. So you can see if there's like for any enrollments, people that are in a sequence and that are not in a sequence. So I hope this was helpful. I'm especially really excited for the sales dashboard. I think this will be incredibly helpful for salespeople using HubSpot, because it really gives you this one view, this one system where you really can just like go through your most important activities to close deals, to work on leads, without having to jump around like all over the system. If there's anything you want me to do like a deep dive into, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll do that in the next video. But for now, keep closing those deals. Bye.